Knight has proven he can take the fight to Holly, but last week's short track romp has been replaced with the longest and fastest oval on the NASCAR circuit. With restrictor plates keeping all the trucks bunched together, will it become a train bound for nowhere? Everyone's going to have to learn a thing or two from the gambler, since skill will only take you so far at this track. At least one driver will find some luck as we get ready to watch round 4 of the PRL NASCAR Truck Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Adam Lindgren. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Adam, at first it was called the Alabama International Motor Speedway, but was officially changed to Talladega Superspeedway in 1990. Anymore, though, it seems like most fans and drivers know this place is just Dega.
Well, there's a good reason why it's developed such a colloquial name, Joe. Talladega is the longest track on the regular NASCAR calendar that still sports only 4 turns. Clocking in at 2.66 miles or 4.28 kilometers, Dega is known for its close pack racing and intense photo finishes. Originally built by Bill France as a challenger to Daytona, Dega's first race saw most of the main NASCAR contenders boycott the race due to tire issues and high speeds and loads on the car, leaving Bill France to have to hire replacement drivers for the race. Ever since then, Daytona has been a place of controversy and heartbreak. If you think 2.66 miles of high-banked, 3-lane track sounds easy, try doing that for 60 minutes at 200 miles per hour, packed in with 25 trucks driving closer than a fender bender at rush hour, and you'll start to get a picture of the challenges these drivers face tonight. Strategy will be difficult, as you really need to work together with other drivers to make your way to the front. Some drivers may decide that fighting for the lead early is too risky, so expect to see some of our usual frontrunners drop out of line to play it safe tonight, and some of our midfield contenders trying to fight for the top spots in the first half of the race. If they can secure a win, it would be a great boon to their championship. Who might be needing that boon tonight, Joe?
Well, there's a few drivers missing, unfortunately, as we watch the trucks warm up and clearly having some issues getting the pack racing sorted out here in the last few minutes before they get to qualifying, where they'll be out there alone on track. But while we wait for that to start, let's take a look at the championships, starting with the drivers, of course. Up at the top of that, in the background, we see quite the action going on. Daniel Knight, even with his win, has not overtaken Bradley Hawley in the points, and unlikely he'll be able to now that, unfortunately, Daniel won't be able to make many of the races after this. Sad to see after his maiden win this season, he's not going to be able to back it up. Hartman, instead, has been one of the major players challenging Hawley. He's still in third after a bad run last week, and Brennan Chatley and Nick Schmeg, surprisingly, are in a very close fight for fourth. Nick with a fantastic finish at Iowa. Let's take a look at the team's race here, Adam.
Yeah, definitely. Back row racing stretching a little bit of a lead there over the other guys, but it's still really close, Joe. This could switch up at any point during these next couple of races. Riding shotguns starting to claw their way forward in that third spot. Only 37 points behind the lead. That's probably about 2 races of misfortune from back row racing falling down to third place. Waterback Ramrod's trying to challenge the riding shotgun guys and take that Waterback 1-2-3 again this year, with 24/7 Motorsports falling behind in 5th.
Now, our regular viewers of oval racing have an idea of what's in store, but for those who haven't before, here's the general rundown of this race itself. We are in round 4 out of 10, as we said, and we've got 50 laps. But remember, this series has a limit on time, 60 minutes, and this race is over. With enough cautions and how long the cautions go here, they could easily run into that time limit, and they have multiple times this season. It is a fixed setup this series, so really no drivers can find themselves an edge in these trucks at this track, even though that's usually how you try to find a little bit more pace. And they have no green-white checkers to save them if they come up to that 60 minutes. There is a 17 incident limit. You can get into each other a little bit hard, get 4 X's, so you got to watch out for that here around Talladega. Just a couple more minutes left here in the warm-up before we get to the qualifying. You talked about a few drivers going to the back. We have some notes as well about punishments that have been around, new punishments. The newest one we've got is Trevor White has an EOL at the start due to last week. And then we've got a few that are still filling theirs out, it sounds like, Adam, that could be at risk today.
Yeah, definitely. That is going to be Dominic Bajin, who's at risk of losing some spots tonight, as well as Mike Franklin.
We lost Adam there for a moment, but yeah, both of those drivers have to stay safe and keep clean, because if they cause another incident, then unfortunately they are going to be asked to sit out a race, not just go to the end of the line. And that'll hurt a lot in the points, way more. Just a couple drivers here on the backstretch trying to get a little bit of a pit party going, again, to practice the pack racing. Adam, if it seems like you've got your mic sorted out, the pack racing is, I guess, really the big skill that a lot of drivers have got to work on and come in being talented at here.
Yeah, definitely. Pack racing is really, really challenging around Talladega, and it's one of those things where you really have to work with your teammates to make sure that you guys work together to get up to the front. That outside line can be really strong, but only if you have a bunch of drivers who are committed and can drive clean. You'll see a lot of drivers in the iRacing service who struggle to hold a line, and that can cause that top line to really slow down. The bottom line is always going to be fast around a draft track, but the top line has to be extremely organized and extremely tight in order to make any progress.
And teammates will certainly be a big help. Wadaback Racing has such a huge presence that we're expecting them to be able to work well together as long as nobody gets caught up in anything early on with Rex. Usually we would expect Ryan Shotgun with their renewed presence in this series to be a factor as well, but unfortunately their attendance is down today, just through a lot of stuff, unfortunately, taking the guys away. So they are only going to have 3 drivers from what we have been told that will be able to take the lead once we get going. Now this pack looks a little bit better than what we were seeing before, all of them trying to push through the trioval. And that's the other different thing about here that we haven't mentioned yet, is that finish line. You see, they just went by Adam. It's not in the trioval. It's even after the pit lane. So drivers got to worry about that when it comes to the race.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those things that's really difficult to talk about until you see it. And you just saw it there on screen. As we see this outside line pushing, if this were a race scenario, what you would end up having is, as they came around the next corner and there's an accident. But as they came around the next corner into the trioval, most of the time you'd be driving towards the center of the trioval to try and take your win, but these guys actually have to think about taking a good line through the trioval, because the start finish line is going to be right about at line with pit exit. So that makes it extremely difficult to win a race from the outside here at Talladega.
As it now transitions over into the qualifying, worth noting that both in the warm-up and here in qualifying, it's been extremely hot today. It's the middle of the day, just about 20 minutes before 1 p.m. virtual standard time, and it's 115 degrees on the track surface. Even in October, apparently Alabama getting quite some heat out here in the virtual world. So drivers now getting ready to start on this warm-up lap, and then eventually they'll get timed.
Yeah, and so, one of the interesting strategies you'll see around here, the trick for these plate races is you want to stay sucked up to that high line as close to the wall as you can get while putting in as little wheel input as you can. And this gives you a good opportunity to let the engine spool up. These trucks are going to be limited on horsepower around this track. So as they go around the high side here, they're going to have to really spool up that engine to try and get as many horses out of this thing as they can, and just a fraction of a horsepower, a fraction of a mile per hour is going to make the difference between whether you're on pole or whether you start 10th.
Watching Malikian hugged up to the outside wall like you were talking about as he starts his first lap. They get 2 laps out here with the truck all by itself on the circuit. This is how they do it in lone qualifying on iRacing. Everybody all at the same time if they want to, but they get 5 minutes to try and do so. With the good lap times around here being in the 51s, you can't wait too long before you try and duck out. Some have been trying to play the weather in that sense before, but you've only got a couple minutes before you really need to get on track and try to get that flyer down as he comes out of 2 and onto the backstretch.
Yeah, Joe, the weather's not going to make that much of a difference in your qualifying times. Where it's going to make a difference is trying to keep the truck under control through the pack. But you'll see these guys stay high through their first lap as they're trying to continue to gain speed. You can pick up a good 2 to 3 miles per hour staying high on your first lap around here. So it looks like Malikian's going to go for the bottom of the track here on that first lap. But yeah, very interesting. There he goes to the top of the leaderboard. He stayed high on that one, but now it's time to see what kind of times they can really put in.
Quickly displaced by Colin Carroll But again, we're looking for the second lap, which many of the drivers are starting on right now. Besaw, who had some problems at Iowa, comes across himself. And let's see what this time is for him. In fact, maybe that was his first lap because I'm not seeing him on the board quite yet. So 97 now on his first timed one. Colin Carroll and the number 20 coming around. This is out of turn 2. Excuse me, out of turn 4 and on to the front stretch.
Yeah, so Colin Carroll's staying a little bit above that yellow line. He might be losing a little bit of time due to that. Frank Peacock put in the first fast lap of the day there, so we're going to see what Colin Carroll's time is going to be right here as he comes across the line.
55.3 for Colin Carroll. That is only good enough for second place. Malikian instead takes the pole. And Nick Ketchum, just like that, takes it away from both of them. Still got a number of drivers coming around for number 2 here, and about a minute and a half left.
I saw Ketchum doing something interesting on the backstretch. He was actually running the middle line on the backstretch, which means he used a little bit less wheel input coming off of 1 and 2. So that's a very interesting strategy. It seems to be paying off with the lap time there. He's a full 3/100ths over most of the rest of the field right now. What's Jalen Battle's time going to be?
Battle's first lap, a 56.3. Worth noting that Nick Schmeg moves up to P4. Let's see if he can stay with that because he was surprised with his qualifying at Iowa. Wonder how he'll feel about Superspeedways this time round. Brennan Chatley. Oh, and Brennan Chatley to the pole over Nick Ketchum.
Sneaks it by 3/1000ths of a second. Impressive move.
Let's see, Robert Besaw coming around on his quick lap. Let's see what he's got. 55.383. That's good enough for P5. Dick Hunter puts the first one down and goes to 15th.
It'll be interesting to see how many of these drivers decide to duck out of the line once we start racing tonight and they see how aggressive it is. Here comes Jalen Battle on his second lap. Let's see what he can do.
Across it, it's a 55.339. That's going to put him all the way up to the pole by 2/1000ths of a second now. Wow. And that is it for qualifying. So the grid is set, and a number of drivers have elected to start at the back. Unfortunately, so many have that some will be just about in the mid-pack. Let's go through your order for today. Jalen Battle starts in P1 with Brennan Chatley in second place. Then you go to Nick Ketchum, who will be starting in third. On the outside of row 2, it'll be Frank Peacock. He backed himself up with that second lap. Robert Malikian starts in fifth, and Mike Richter, who looked good in the warm-up, managed to get himself in sixth position. Robert Besaw with a seventh, and Nick Schmeg stayed all the way up in eighth. Another top 10 start for him. Colin Carroll will be ninth with William Lee rounding out the top 10.
Boston Hunter's going to start in P11 tonight alongside Brandon Walter in that sixth row. John LaBeouf in the Baker's Dozen position in row 7 alongside Colton Lane, who starts off 14th. Baron Hilton starts off 15th tonight with Zachary Jouar in 16th. William Hartman down in 17th. Not a great qualifying for him, with Nicholas Hunter in 18th. Charles Sumner starting off 19th, and Rob Haynes running out your top 20. Next one's interesting, Joe.
Bradley Hawley didn't put a time in. I have a feeling he's going to be one of the ones that, like you said, dropping to the back from that 21st spot. Same thing with Jean back there in 22nd. Jonathan Warren starts P23 with Mike Franklin in 24th. Paul Williams, another fast driver, just missed out on a potential victory last week. He starts 25th today. Thomas Sink in 22nd. Josue Telez in 27th. Excuse me, Sink was 26th, rather. Adam Young will be starting P28, Brett Adams in 29th, and Mark Kalin in 30th. Adam Shane, he did come into the session, so it looks like he will start this race. 31 cars out there taking the green today, but none of them are Trevor White, so he won't be able to take his penalty this race. I understand he'll still have to serve it next race if I have followed the rules correctly here.
That's my guess. It's not super clear in the rules, but we'll talk to some guys after the race and find out whether or not he's going to serve that next race. But yeah, he's not here to serve it right now.
They come out of turn 2. I finally got that corner right this time onto the back stretch. They all are just trying to get themselves psyched up for what is expected to be a frenetic race Hopefully not too many cautions out there. Hopefully we can finally find that green flag before the clock goes out instead of the laps, as the drivers all kind of doing a better job last week in terms of cleaning up in the first part of the race. It was relatively clean at Iowa after Charlotte really raised the ire of the stewards. And then the end of the race, unfortunately, had a spate of cautions. Hoping, Adam, we don't see that again.
Yeah, Joe, they have about 2 cautions that they can afford to take before they go into a timed race. So it's not that many. So they're going to be hard pressed to finish this one on laps.
Coming out of turn 4 now, up towards the tri-oval. Now, remember, the Mustang pace car will peel off early, but our leader, Battle, will have a while before he can go. Waiting for it to head into the pit lane. There goes the pace car. Battle controlling the fields. Needs to give it a minute before he can take off. Green flag won't wave quite yet. Everybody getting stacked up now. They're out of the tri-oval. Green flag is out. Battle not looking for the jump this time. Remember, it is Superspeedway plate racing. He wants everybody to stick with him, and indeed, he times it very well. Top line, just starting to get up to speed as well, with a few gaps in there. I'm surprised that we're not seeing Peachock try to duck down. He stays up on the top side with Chatley. And there's a big gap forming behind the 51 of Richter in 8th down to Austin Hunter. That's not good.
Yeah, definitely. I think quite a few of these drivers are trying to go to the back of the field and just chill, but that doesn't end up working if everybody decides to do it. So some people are going to have to go up to the front and battle for the lead, just like Chatley and Ketchum are trying to do.
Yeah, only so many people can say after you, and someone's got to be in the middle. But they come around to complete lap 1, and as they get up to speed, clocking at about 183 miles per hour. It's been good so far. It's going to be Battle who leads the first lap around of what will hopefully be 50. Chatley getting a little bit of momentum on the high side, still being pushed by Peachock.
All right, so it looks like we do have two groups really starting to split up here. We have this front group that is definitely battling for the lead at this point, and then we have a back group that is separated not by that much, to be honest, but they're back there and kind of run single file. So this front group is where all the action is at the moment.
At the riding shotgun, at least 2 of the drivers, Shane and Young, are all the way at the back and have completely separated themselves, but there's only 2 of them back there, so they could easily find themselves gobbled up if we get a long green flag run here. They're probably banking on it not going all that long. Finishing lap 2 now, still Battle leading the way. Chatley staying right up next to him, and it was awful close at the line. This time the momentum much better down into turn 1.
So for those of you who haven't watched a lot of plate racing before, this is what we would consider to be a very calm and conservative pack. These guys are racing for the lead, but everyone's staying off of each other's bumpers. Everyone's giving about a quarter car length, and that's about the largest distance you want to keep your speed up around this track. But this is considered calm right now.
Absolutely. Staying too wide through. And maybe worth pointing out as well that Talladega is quite a bit wider than Daytona in terms of what they can do. So this too wide, really no problem around here.
Not at all. The 3 wide is very comfortable around here as well, and especially if you're spread out like as far as they are. But that top lane is just taking the luxury of being able to run half a lane higher, and that keeps them safe and keeps them from getting run into if somebody misses their turn in, which is very frequent here at plate racing, because it's just, it starts to wear on you as you start to turn these laps. It can get difficult to hold that line. You have to really maintain a lot of focus, and you can't see farther than a few feet ahead of you. All you're doing is looking into the rear wing of that truck ahead.
See, that front group goes all the way back to 13th. That's Baron Hilton. Before you get a gap, and then it's Austin Hunter in the 312. He's running in 14th position, but they've spread out behind them. He's got Walter with him. Then it's another big gap, and Colton Lane is back there. He looks like he might actually get swallowed up by the group led by Hunter. So we're in a bit of no man's land behind this main pack that we see on screen.
Definitely. William Hartman is 2.5 seconds off the lead. Bradley Holly's 2.8 seconds off the lead. They're a good, almost a full straightaway behind this lead pack. So those are our championship contenders, and they're deciding to wait it out and try and wait for a wreck to happen ahead of them, or wait for pit stops before they start clawing their way up the field.
What are you expecting in terms of pit stops here? Do you think it's a case of wait as long as possible or cover it off as soon as you think you're in the window?
It really depends on who's going to go with you. If you can get a big group of trucks to go with you, it doesn't matter when you take that. And if you can get the biggest group of trucks to go with you, then whenever they go, you go. So if you are a lone driver or you've got a small team, you want to go whenever the rest of the trucks are going to go. And a lot of truck drivers will communicate about that over chat and over voice chat during the race. So if you're a lone driver, you want to be paying attention to those Whataback guys. They've got 6 drivers in this field, and you want to try and move when they do to go to the pit lane.
Here's what's interesting. Despite the high lane having been pretty successful, Chatley's ducked down low. And this actually might give the lead to Peacock, who's getting a nice shove from the number 20 of Carroll. Doesn't duck down yet. Stays up on the high side. Seems to like how that's working.
On that route and get a little bit of air on that high side of Nick Ketchum, and that can cause a big incident.
Nick Schmeg back there in the 4th row as well. He's in the green Chevy that you see at times there on screen. So after having started in 8th, he's still in 8th, but keeping himself in play at least, and hopefully out of most of the trouble with fewer trucks in front of him.
Oh, and that's Frank Peacock losing it a little bit. He just clipped the apron and had to drop back, so he's going backwards. Sorry, that's Robert Malikian dropping back now.
Yeah, the number 81 of Malikian, it looks like he started to get loose even before he clipped the apron. Not sure.
I think it's just the tires, Joe. The tires, it's so hot on this track right now, 116 degrees from climbing. Watch Malikian. Oh my goodness, he does get loose. Just gets the air sucked off of his nose a little bit, and that helps rotate that truck just a little bit, and that sends him around it, just coming onto that last section of the oval.
This goes to show everybody that thinks it's foot to the floor and stay in line, easy to race around these super speedways. It certainly looks like it is not today. Across the line, though, it is going to be Chatley leading from the top side once again. I'm kind of surprised at how well the top side has been doing so far this race.
Well, on hot days like this, it's actually easier to run that high side. It's actually easier to run the 3rd lane right up against the wall. You've seen Dale Earnhardt Jr. do that in past years when he raced with NASCAR. He would take the pack all the way up to the wall. And it's actually easier on your tires to run that high line, but it does produce slower lap times and puts you at risk of someone diving down low to try and make a pass or make a bottom lane.
Stays up on the high side as they come off of 4. Oh, Battle getting a little bit more momentum once again midway through the corner. And through the triover they go.
Mike Franklin's made it 3 wide right there.
And does he have help? Yeah, it looks like a riding shotgun car of Franklin being followed by Adam Young, who's somehow come all the way up from the very back. Now, where is Shane in this?
Yeah, those riding shotgun guys have decided for some reason that they want to get up here and battle. They've seen that it hasn't been too chaotic, so they're up here joining this front pack. That's Mike Franklin and Adam Young on the back of that high lane, trying to push that high lane forward.
Right now, the high lane has 2 trucks completely ahead of the leader of the low line, which is still battle. Actually, make it 3 trucks soon. Nick Ketchum in 3rd. Finally, now maybe leader Chatley going down low. Nope, he stays with the high side. Ketchum drifting all the way up high, trying to get a little bit of air on that truck. Incredibly hot out here today as there was a little bobble from Zach Swar that checks up those behinds.
Zach has been struggling significantly into turn 1 the last couple laps. I would be surprised if we don't see him spin very shortly, Joe. I mean, I hate to say that, but he's just been struggling to get the entry into 1 correct these last couple laps, and is sliding that right rear tire, and that's just going to get worse and worse the more you do it.
Ooh, Ooh, and look at this. Brett Adams in the 23 is suddenly up there in 6th now, just behind Schmeg. He was much farther back in this group not too long ago. Looking like he's making steady improvements.
Oh, look at this, Mike Frank.
When somebody's found trouble, that was Lee.
William
No
Lee in the
caution.
number 2.
How did he do this? He was on his own. He got loose off the tri-oval.
Oh, and he collected Rob Haynes, Joe.
Really? Tellez barely avoided him. And the world was Haynes that he managed to him.
Either that or Haynes had his own issue.
Haynes had a weird issue, honestly. I think everybody checked up in front of him, and he had to avoid to the outside, where suddenly he found it getting loose on him. You're going to see it right here.
Oh my goodness. It's almost like he got turned.
There's nobody with him. I know we couldn't see it from that onboard, but I went back and checked. And 29 is coming in now. A little too much of the brakes, it seems.
Well, while we've been taking a look at this and Rob Haynes is coming into the pits, our top pack has now turned into 15 trucks, and it's growing, Joe.
It was 3 wide in the middle of it. Adam Shane trying to get with his teammates. That forces Zach Swar to back out. And the right and shotgun trio are now all in line on that high side. They've been very observant, it seems, because they picked the top side, see what it's been doing, and could climb their way a little bit farther up depending on how aggressive they want to be.
And Joe, this has actually gapped the group behind because of that checkup. They have a this pack has a 5-second gap down to Brandon Walter in the 19th position. Brandon Walter struggling to pull that second pack up to the leaders now, and that's going to spell big problems for our championship leaders if we do go green this whole time.
And Suarez made this 3 wide again. He tried to go up high and scrape the wall. It almost looks like that's Young that we're seeing. It looks like he's trying to maybe keep him from getting by so that they can get Shane back with them. But Shane's now stuck low.
Keep in mind that Young was driving behind Joar for a good portion of this time, so he's probably trying to encourage Joar not to make it 3 wide because he's concerned Joar's going to wreck him.
We've been green since we started this race. We're now 16 laps in, and now the bottom line starts to look pretty good. Chatley and Peacock get low. Looks like Besaw as well getting into that line, and they've almost completely switched because up high, that's Jalen Battle in the 28.
Very interesting things going on at the front. These strategies are working out differently for everyone, but look how squirrely that bottom line is. They're compressed significantly, and that can be really dangerous going around here with these high temps.
Temperature still hovering to about 115 degrees Fahrenheit, at least on the track surface. It's also 82 degrees air temperature out here today. Between this pack and the next one, let's see that it's all the way back to LaBaff now in P15 before you, Warren, no, in 16th it seems. And you've got Paul Williams, number 7, who could yet pull up to this thing. He might be getting a little hint of the draft, and he'll pull Tellez along if he does so.
Yeah, Joe, that backpack is really not going quick. They're up to 6 seconds now behind. They've lost 1.5 seconds just in the last lap and a half. So they're in trouble.
Taking a glance at that second group back here. Brandon Walter up at the front of them. Hartman, St. Holly, Bajin. Ooh, big championship contenders still stuck back here. They're really hoping for a caution. See Clinton Lane in there as well. He tends to be farther up at the front. All of them are staying in a line, so they're very well behaved for the time being. Ooh, there was a and the
there
28
he
is in the wall. Everybody ducks low to get away from him. Jalen Battle, unfortunately, not going to get the yellow. And that truck is badly damaged. That all looked like it started from a bad bump, potentially.
Yeah, it was just a little bit of a bad bump on the backstretch, and he gets into the wall. Really good driving from him to keep it in the wall there. That is easier said than done.
Gentlemanly as well. Obviously, since then, there's the bad bump. Oh, yeah, he got him in the corner. You could see there. Did not hook up right. Means that he's got to get that damage repair, and he is going to get laps down, much like we saw Lee and Haynes, who are still actually taking repairs right now. This front pack being led by Chatley. Besaw Jr. is the second in line on that low line. Ooh, the 55 of Peacock did not look steady going into turn 3.
No, you got to set up this car today. You got to really, really set it up to get into those corners. Now, fortunately for all of these drivers, the temperature is going down. It's gone down 2 degrees since the start of the race, which is a really good sign for them. That means that the track temperature is decreasing, and that means that they'll get more grip once they get fresh tires as well.
18 laps into this thing. Do the tires have much more to do than handling? Would that give you any speed? Could this be something where you try to get a group to go with you just to get some fresh ones?
Well, if you're spinning the tires or entering the corner, then you are scrubbing off speed. So there is something to be said for that. It might gain you a mile an hour, maybe a mile an hour or two, and that can make a significant difference. But if with the pack racing the way it is, it's got to be a big pack that goes with you. Because as we've seen with the guys who are behind, we're 7 seconds behind now in that backpack, led now by William Hartman. If you don't have that many trucks behind you, you're going to struggle.
Meanwhile, it's going to be Adams who leads this time across the line, going from somewhere around 10th in this pack up to the front, ahead of Peacock, who's been pushing him on that high line. Third in that line is Ketchum now, and the number 61 as well. And behind them, the fourth in line is the first of our ride-in shotgun cars.
They've finally been able to maneuver their way into better positions in the pack. It takes a long time to do around Talladega or any of the draft tracks, is to try and navigate your way through this pack. They're running nose to tail, so in order to make those moves, you have to hope that people make mistakes and slip up a little bit so that you have a good opportunity. It looks like we have some guys going in for the pits right now. It's Paul Williams and Josue Tellez.
They were towards the tail of that group, and it's only those two, it looks like. Behind them, Sink leading Hawley and Hartman in the second group. They are definitely teammates. Actually, I'd like to try and see where the teammates for Whataback are right now as well. I believe Chatley is one of them, and he is currently in second.
And Joe, we have a lot of trucks lining up on the bottom of the track right now. I think we're going to see a lot more drivers come in this lap.
We're just about at the halfway mark. Let's see who ducks on in this time in response to those two trucks coming in. Going to be Chatley, as well as that was Besaw Jr. They're joined by LaBaff. Oh, and way late call for Jonathan Warren.
Oh, and we have a spinner in the back. That's the 48 truck.
That was Thomas Sink. That was leading pretty much the entirety of the second group down in. Sink was way hot. He knew it. He was trying to get it woed up. Not only is he going to lose time here from spinning sideways, but I'm pretty sure he'll get a speeding penalty. Now I seen that Warren is back out, but all on his lonesome. 47 looks like he may have missed his pit stall.
Yeah, I think he did, Joe. He's only spent 20 seconds on the lane, so that's big issues for him. Meanwhile, most of our second pack runners have come in as well, such as Bradley Hawley and William Hartman. Those 2 points drivers have come in, so if this goes green all the way, they're in big trouble, Joe.
And I think we had the same problem with Sink. I'm not seeing him having stopped. We're looking at the replay of Warren now. Yeah, he starts to hesitate at the end of the line, and you can see he realized he's made a big goof.
Oh, that's the worst feeling in the world, especially around a draft track.
Now, Paul Williams and Tellez, who pitted the earliest, are currently the highest pitters right now. But we're starting to get some other drivers. Oh, Brett Adams! Brett Adams was in the grass! And now he hits the wall. He tried to pit by himself, I think.
Well, he managed to hit his pit stall, so as long as it's not that bad of damage, he might not be that bad off. Oh my goodness.
That blue truck that you saw was Malikian. I wonder if that was his teammate or whoever he was trying to work with. And he unfortunately got the call a little bit late, because you can see Malikian comes down and Adams is way later. By the time he's trying to whoa up, that thing is not stopping.
Joe, William Hartman and Bradley Hawley have just been lapped. Now, granted, this is prior to this front pack's pit stops, but they're getting lapped right now, and that's big news.
Wow. Yeah, that'll be a certain drop week for them.
But we haven't had a wreck yet, Joe. If we get a wreck, then all this goes out the window.
Yeah, now things are really mixed up, so it's going to be a lot harder to read. I tell you what, especially the group with Peacock up at the front, which is, I think, our leader, still not having come in. They're actually going 3 wide for second as we see more pitters now coming down the lane. That looks like a rod and shotgun trio.
That is Bradley Hawley, second car on the inside behind Peacock. Peacock's going to duck down to the pits. Bradley Hawley's going to be released now to try and regain his lap, but that sticks Nick Ketchum and Nick Schmeg up on the high side. They're stuck up there. They can't pit right now, so they're looking to be in trouble now.
And Baron Hilton had a mistake on his way in. In fact, he may have hit Peacock. This might be worth a replay. Ooh, he came very close to hitting Peacock. Seems a lot of drivers, even though they were practicing their pit entries a lot during the warm-up that I could see, some could still use a little bit of working this out. Woo-hoo. Wow. I wonder how much Peacock was aware of what was happening behind him.
I don't know about you, Joe, but whenever I drive these... Oh my goodness, that's as close as it gets.
Yeah.
Whenever I drive these restrictor plate race tracks, Joe, I'm always looking in my mirror whenever I come onto pit road.
Meanwhile, as we come back to the front, I think our lead pack that hasn't pitted are lapping some drivers who have pitted, Malikian being one of them, it looks like.
Well, it's Bradley Hawley leading the bottom side, and then we have Nick Ketchum, Colin Carroll, Zachary Schwar, and Nick Schmeg, who all haven't pitted yet, and they're all battling these guys on the bottom side. They need to pit, Joe, and they have no room to get down, but they don't want to back off either, so they're kind of stuck in a hard place.
Meg was low, and now he's gotten up to the high side. Zwar was up there as well. They don't seem all that interested in coming in quite yet. Maybe they're thinking they could trap a lot of people a lap down.
It's one idea, but it's not going to work. You have Bradley Hawley and William Hartman, who are in an opportunity right now to try and keep their laps if there was a wreck, because right now they're on the lead lap, just on the back of it.
Three wide once again. Zwar dropping to the back. Bottom line getting pretty single file. Only have to get back to Hartman and Ketchum before you get too wide up there. And now, as I say that, up to the high side, the 911 John LaBaff. Looks like he isn't interested in staying low. Maybe this is letting all of our drivers that still need to pit the ability to get down to the bottom side. Who's coming in?
I think this is everybody. I think everyone's coming in now.
Ketchum is. Not Hawley, though.
Hawley's already pitted.
Zwar is coming in. Zwar is losing the truck, though. into the grass, and
Oh,
oh
and oh my
no!
goodness. Thank
He,
goodness for ghosting for Nick Schmeg.
but not for Colin Carroll. He got tipped around. So now we're just waiting on Kalen, the only driver who is not pitting yet. And he was a lap down, I believe, before these leaders stopped.
Yes,
There's
so yes, he has yet. Kalen has yet to pit, and as we saw that incident go on, yeah. So Kalen has yet to pit, so he's gonna have to pit alone because everyone else behind him has pitted, and it looks like Schmeg's gonna go down a lap. That's gonna be Ketchum, not down a lap, but they'll go to the back of this pack. Ketchum's also gonna go down. Most likely, he might actually be able to get on track and get a little bit of speed, so he might cling on to the back of this. But it looks like Nick Schmeg's gonna get dropped here.
Definitely. Ketchum is our current leader. Now, wait a minute. He was with the number 24, was he not? Where did the 24 go? He has no help, and he was with Josue Tellez, I'm pretty sure, before. Oh, no, it was, excuse me. Tellez was with Williams. That's what I was thinking of.
They're in this pack, so they're the first ones to pit, and they are now in that lead group. Oh my goodness, that was the 61 coming up high.
Oh, and there's your wreck. Caution is out. Nick Ketchum involved in it. Adam Young. Looks like Besaw Jr. Tellez. Anybody else get caught up? Just those four, I believe.
Yeah, Nick Ketchum just, it looked like he came up a little bit before the pack was going around him, so the pack didn't know where it was going to go, and everything just got a little unsettled.
Wow, Mike Franklin with some very fast hands if you want a good onboard. Stayed away from it. I think it was the only truck that was behind in the incident that got through. He took it all the way down onto the apron and managed to avoid disaster.
You know what other disaster was avoided? That's disaster for drivers like Nick Schmeg. Those who came out late on that run, they're not going to lose a lap now. They're going to get bunched up with everybody. So all these drivers who are leading the championship who came in and got a good pit strategy, all that disappears now.
The only driver that had not pitted was Mark Kalen. And while normally he would be happy about that, but now he's going to go to the back of the pack with this stop. But I think he's going to be joined. It looks like Paul Williams is coming in, our leader.
Interesting from Paul Williams. So Mark Kalen's actually praising the gods right now, because if he would have come in, he definitely would have gone a lap down. So this actually works out well for Kalen. Coming from one lap down overall, he's able to gain that lap back just by staying out and waiting for this caution to happen.
Obviously, our trucks that got damage are in to get their repairs. Franklin came in, didn't hit anything, but he's getting, looks like fresh tires. Dominic Bejine, who was towards the back and in that second pack for a long time, he's coming in for fresh tires. So it looks like Malikian, Besaw, Carroll's in for a second one. Bejine, I mentioned. Josue Tellez getting repairs. Young getting repairs. Other than that, everybody else stays out.
And strangely enough, it appears that Nick Ketchum maintains the lead.
We're going to take a quick break here on the Global SimRacing Channel. It's our first caution of the day here for round 4 at Talladega Superspeedway. But the PRL NASCAR Truck Series has been having a good run. Let's try and keep that up. We'll see if they can make it all the way to the checkers when we come back from this. Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway. We're watching round 4 of the PRL NASCAR Truck Series as we're getting ready to restart after our first caution. And during the break, you may have heard some music. Well, we always tell you at the end that that music is by June Lalonde, but we want to wish her a very happy birthday today to June. So I don't know if you're watching right now, June, but thank you again for all your hard work over the years, offering us the use of your music. Hope it is a good one today. Right now, Nick Ketchum is restarting on the low line, but Nick, Adam, you pointed out, was involved in this wreck. And once we get a behind view of this truck, we'll see there's significant damage there. Everybody behind him who can see that is probably groaning.
Yeah, that's going to hold up that bottom line significantly. And Nick Ketchum in first place right now is really just he's a damaged truck. He's going to be struggling. He's got a little bit of front end damage with that hood buckled up. He's got rear end damage with the rear punched in. May not look like a lot, but I wouldn't be surprised if he had some engine damage as well. So that puts Bradley Hawley, William Hartman, and Frank Peacock right up on the high side with a good opportunity to jump away with this one at the start.
There goes the Mustang pace car down on the low line. I don't know how Bradley Hawley does it, but the 184 is back in contention despite being well mired in the back of this field for the majority of the race. But it's not over yet. We still have at least 15 laps to go when we cross the line here. Green flag is out, and Bradley Hawley is very good on the restart. Oh, and wheel spin there for Nick Ketchum as well. That actually checks up Charles Sumner, who has to duck off into the apron. He's going to fall all the way to the back.
Yeah, I can't say that I'm surprised, Joe. After sliding through the infield, Nick Ketchum's tires have got to be pretty worn out at this stage. But wheel spin at Dega is something that is very, very unusual. But that being said, that's released Bradley Hawley and William Hartman to the front. But with this being a pack race, they're not going to be alone for long.
You could see a little bit of a thought from Nick Ketchum to try and duck up to the high side to follow John LaBaff, who got a great run. But LaBaff has no one with him now. Looks like the 61 of Ketchum is thinking of trying to get in line, and he does up to the high side. Peacock sees the momentum and decides to join in as well.
Well, nobody wants Bradley Hawley to win another one, that's for sure. So everyone's going to work together against him today, and we have a caution for that.
Figure out, was Nick Schmeg involved? I see him down in pit lane.
No, they were going to come to the pits anyway. I think
they might not have. They might get a black flag for entering closed pits, actually.
Joe, I think the caution was flown for them.
I'm a little bit gobsmacked here. That is just bizarre.
Joe, the caution was flown for Rob Haynes, who was slow on the track with a blown engine and pulled over to the bottom side. He thought he was out of the way, but it flew for him.
And it looks like he's already in the pits at the time the caution flew, which...
Joe, I don't think there is a caution. I think everyone just checked up like there was one. Because they're still going.
We've got a yellow marker.
Well, they're clearly not seeing it.
So we come back live. Our graphic is saying yellow, but you're right. They're racing at full speed. So must have had some sort of glitch as we watch the front pack being led by Hawley. And once again, the cream seems to rise to the top because you can see that is Hartman and the 67 that is behind them. John LaBaff. Now we're starting to get 3 wide as drivers are getting a little bit more antsy. Jonathan Warren in there as well, up on the high side. I believe, I forget who that yellow car is. Actually, that is Warren that I'm seeing in the yellow car in the 47.
There's Nick Schmeg coming out of the pits. We have a spinner in the back.
This is not going to be good.
This is the big one for sure.
A lot of trucks involved, and poor Nick Schmeg, even at low speeds, gets caught up in it. Can't avoid all that's happening in front of him. This starts, I think, with a 61. Nick Ketchum.
That will be
Not
his.
getting many fans today.
Yeah, that would be his second caution.
So Nick Hunter gets tipped down, and then he bounces back into Mike Franklin. Franklin gets sandwiched into the wall. The 47 of Warren has nowhere to go. From there, it's chaos, and take your pick. Just about everybody behind hit something. Checking to see if anybody had a miraculous escape here.
This is the worst position to be in if you're Nick Schmeg. You're seeing trucks just fly across, and he almost made it out of that, but then gets clobbered in the right rear.
So Colton Lane would have gotten through clean, but he got some damage on the rear because he got hit by Bajin. But as far as the front of the truck, he somehow avoided all the chaos. Here's the number 68. Sees the action happening, dives down to the inside. You can see the damage he gets on the rear, but slaloms his way through all the skidding trucks and eventually comes out in 6th place rather. Always spay and neuter your yellow flags, because otherwise cautions breed cautions, and we're seeing it here, especially late in the race with all the trucks bunched up. Not expecting anybody to come in and pit, especially now that we're so late in the race.
And we're still good to go to the end on laps right now. They'd be hard pressed to get there on cautions. They'd have to be going really hard.
Lickian's going to pit
into the wall. So
B-Saw getting his damage repaired. He's coming on in. That one took a whole bunch of victims, unfortunately.
Wow,
we're down to 16 minutes left, and we've got 10 to go.
And we've got, oh, shit, goodness, 11 clean trucks, Joe?
It's the nature of the beast. If you've never watched plate racing, that this is sometimes how it goes. If you can stay out of trouble, you got a good chance. So let's go through some of those. Bradley Hawley, of course, it looks to have a clean truck up at the front. So does William Hartman behind him. John LaBaff stayed out of the trouble. I see some damage on the back of Adam Shane. Excuse me, so I don't think he is fully clear. The 20 of Colin Carroll. I think we saw the 20 get involved in something earlier on, did we not?
I believe so, yes. Colin Carroll, I think he just got hit hard in one of the wrecks earlier when he was checking up.
Zach Zwar should have gotten some damage from the last one. He was in the midst of that, but he stayed out. Colton Lane, we saw the rear of that truck, got a little bit of damage. Austin Hunter, did Hunter get through okay?
He almost did, but he also got clipped a little bit, so Hunter looks like he's got a pretty clean truck, but I saw him get clipped and get a little sideways.
Looks like Kalen is also clean. He's up to 9th, going from fearing going a lap down to now finding himself in the lead pack with a chance at potentially winning it. Looks like Charles Sumner, who is in 10th, has also got a pretty clean truck. I'm trying to get closer looks on my own just to see here as our camera cycles through. Paul Williams in the 7, known for being incredibly fast. He actually might be completely spotless.
Yeah, he's one of the few. Believe it or not, Thomas Sink is also back on the lead lap in 15th. He's got his truck repaired, but pretty much everyone else is a bucket of bolts at this point.
Bizarre twist. A few more trucks coming in for stops. Checking to see. Looks like Schmeg is getting some more repairs. Young is as well. Thomas Sink. Those are the only 3, I believe. And was Malikian given the lucky dog? He's out there on his own, or did he come in pit? The 81 is cycling around, and I'm seeing he's on the lead lap, so
he's been doing He's been doing some pit work, Joe. So
Ah,
he's been cycling around trying to stay ahead of the pace car.
pace car still with the lights on, so we've got about a lap and a half left, we believe, here in the caution. We're down to 13 minutes left and 9 to go, so we're going to get restarted in what we hope will be 7 laps to go. I believe Adam Young still getting some repairs here under caution, and he's put himself in our ready for interview room. So why don't we give a little bit of a chat to Adam, since he was involved in a couple of these incidents. Adam, you guys were looking really good up until the pit stops, and you came back out. It looked like the strategy was working great, and it seems you got caught up in the first mess.
Yeah, and that was just restrictor plate racing. I mean, running on the high side there, making the high side work, and then the next thing you know, you're in the wall. I mean, no chance to react, no chance nothing. But that's plate racing. But we had a really good run there going early. We saw the Whataback cars hanging back, and well, if we're going to do anything, being shorthanded tonight, we got to do the opposite of what they did. So we tried to charge to the front, and it almost worked out for us.
We did notice that, and you guys got up front very, very quickly, as we see you now heading out of the pits. So it looks like you might be able to scalp a few positions. Idealistically, what do you think you can achieve from here on out?
Well, car's damaged. We'll see what happens. I got to come down one more time to finish out the optionals, but I mean, they were truck didn't want to do more than about 154 miles an hour there with all the damage. So it's just a matter now of what I can get. Fortunately, Mike's out, so now we're just throwing all our weight behind Adam, and hopefully he can find somebody up there to work with him and see how far he can get up.
Well, best of luck to you. We'll let you concentrate on the rest of the race here.
All right, thanks, Joe. Appreciate it, guys.
That was Adam Young. He got back out on track and currently is in 16th. So, and he's on the lead lap. So really not the end of the world for the number 42. We are now double file though, so we're going green next time by. And it is going to be Holly and Hartman. Just can't stay away from one another. We'll be on the front row when we get going once again.
Yeah, you'd think that those two, you'd think that this track of any of them would be the place where you'd see Holly and Hartman have any struggles. But for some reason, the cream of the crop rises to the top no matter what track you're racing, and that includes Talladega. So these two guys have the support of Whataback, both of them, and so it's very interesting to find that those two find themselves at the front again.
In fact, I think the only one where they were pretty far apart from most of the race was last week at Iowa, and that was because Hartman got involved in a wreck partway through, and then he found himself mired in the middle and couldn't really get out of the way when a bigger wreck happened in front of him. So the 67 looking to make up for that, but he's got to beat Bradley Hawley to the line to do that, and he's got to do it potentially by outsmarting him before a caution comes out, if we get another one. Because if we get one after this, it certainly should finish out the race.
Yes. And also, Joe, the top 11 trucks are fairly clean, but the remaining 9 trucks after that are pretty scrappy right now. So they're going to be battling it out for positions too. So don't think that the action is just going to be at the front.
Well, as the pace car now comes in, we're going to get restarted, as we said, with 7 to go. Bradley Hawley waiting patiently, not getting the green flag quite yet. And once again, he does not want to jump the field. He wants to bring everybody along with him. Through the tri-oval and back towards the front stretch. Green flag comes out. The trucks slowly work up their speed, 115, 120 miles an hour, as they pick up speed, and quickly Hartman gets down to the low side. Shane behind them with a little bit of damage that his truck has. He's falling backwards, can't find a hole in the group.
Yeah, John LaBeouf had a horrible start, and the 18 is Zachary Jouar is just going backwards right now. We have a couple of trucks that are really struggling on that high side, but this is far from over as we take a look at John LaBeouf trying to make it work on the outside of Hartman and Hawley.
Yeah, LaBeouf eventually got a push from the number 20 of Carroll. That's going to make them the high side. The 7 of Williams is back there. When he starts to suck up to them, I suspect that he is going to be pushing hard to try and make up for losing out on victory last week. Right at the line, wound up at 5th after he spun across, attempting to try and pass Daniel Knight. He is now onto the back of the 20. Now he's up to the high side. He's not going to sit around. He's looking to try and carry this momentum up to the front.
He's alone, though. He's got no one helping him, and that's going to mean that he's not going to be able to carry that speed, so he's going to have to drop it back down. But that shows those drivers on the low side, hey, if you want to go, I will go with you. It's time to go. We only have 5 laps to go in this race.
And up at the front, Bradley Hawley currently retains the lead. This is the first time we've seen that bottom line look stronger than the top one. LaBeouf still being pushed by the number 20, but can't get a nose ahead.
Yeah, Colton Lane, who's up there, is really struggling to hold on to that truck, along with Mark Caylin. Everyone's just really struggling to hold on to their trucks right now. The temperatures are still pretty high, but these are fresh trucks, so everyone's going to have to run line abreast and try and really just get as close as they can to each other's back bumpers to try and pick up speed around this track. It looks like the high side's really trying to do that. John LaBeouf holding strong.
Less than 7 minutes to go now with 5 laps left that they have to complete. If they can stay under green, they will see the checkered flag. Much better on the high side for LaBeouf, and he starts to drop away. Wonder if LaBeouf himself has a little bit of damage somewhere, because he, in a straight line, he just doesn't look good.
That's entirely possible he does, and that's when it's the... Oh goodness, that's contact between LaBeouf and William Hartman, and Hartman's around. That is a huge wreck.
A lot of trucks are unfortunately finding themselves spun and hitting each other. Austin Hunter got through. Paul Williams miraculously found a hole. Of course, Hawley was ahead of all of it. Let's take a look at the replay here. That definitely ends the race.
Oh my goodness, it looks like LaBeouf just came down on Hawley.
I think he got maybe a little loose, because he can't have thought he could get down to the low side. He had to have gotten a call. That brought Adam Shane into it. Colton Lane got hit, and Colin Carroll as well.
Going into this corner, keep an eye on LaBeouf and watch his nose, see how it angles coming off of this corner. I think we're going to see just what you said, Joe. It gets just a little bit loose, and he just clobbers Hartman inside. And Hartman just couldn't save it.
You know, I mentioned that Williams managed to get through. It wasn't without contact, but my goodness, watch this save from on board. This truck is going to get incredibly sideways and through the tri-oval of all places, and somehow he keeps it from going completely around.
Oh my goodness, that is an amazing save from him.
And that's going to gift him 3rd place. Kalen was the unfortunate one that he made contact with, and I think did Kalen hit anything after that?
Well,
There's the wall. Yep, that's a big hit. All right, so how does this shape things out? And Hawley is still the leader. LaBeouf was ahead of it, so LaBeouf was part of it, I guess, if anything. He's 2nd after that. He might get a point on his license, though. Williams gets promoted to 3rd. Hunter is up to 4th, him dodging through a lot of mess, and Colin Carroll up to a top 5 now.
And look at that. Thomas Sink, after troubles on pit road, in P6. What a change of fortunes for him in this race. Oh, and as I'm talking about it, Thomas Sink blows an engine. The commentator's curse strikes again.
That's the most bizarre commentator's curse I think I've ever seen. Not even doing a thing, under caution, and the poor number 48 has to come to a halt.
That's going to extend our caution, Joe, I think.
Well, the caution was absolutely going to be going all the way to the end because we are 3.5 minutes left right now. So they certainly won't be able to get back to green in time here. Essentially, they are going to cycle around these last couple laps if they make all of them behind the Mustang pace car. Well, this is horrible news, of course, for Hartman. Where did he wind up? Is he actually still running?
No, Hartman will end up likely P either 19 or 21st, depending on whether I think Mike Richter is going to pass both Hartman and
And
Shane
Shane,
before
yeah.
the end of this race.
Wow. Man, and after last week, I said it before that Hartman will not, he'll hope that that would be his drop week, but this is certainly a contender for also being a drop week for him. 2 bad races in a row for the driver that's mostly been the one fast enough to challenge Bradley Hawley week in and week out.
We see this in a lot of series around that we broadcast in GSRC and also in real life. It just comes down to not just are you fast enough, but is luck on your side. And Bradley Hawley has not only had the talent, but he's also been at the right place at the right time. And those are things, that last bit is something you can't predict.
Sometimes the racing gods smile upon you. Bradley Hawley must have done something they love because not only did he get the luck on this one, but obviously a great timing for the caution before allowed him to even get into this position. The 184 having started all the way at the back, well, almost at the back, I should say, having not put a qualifying time in. I think it was 19th. Let me double check here. 21st is where he started this race out of 31 starters.
So we should get the white flag next time.
Yes, I believe so. We're at 1.5 minutes left to go on the clock. I'm trying to think, did we manage to see the end of the race on Michigan? Or did that one time out? Because Charlotte didn't make it, Iowa didn't make it, this one's not going to make it.
No, I think we timed out in Michigan as well.
Not having the best track record, sadly, so far, but they've been close. You'll have to give them that at both today and at a couple other races where it just about made it all the way to the full lap length.
That's not for lack of trying either. The series added 5 minutes to their race time. They added the new caution penalty point system, and those have acted as deterrents, and we've seen cleaner racing in general. But especially when you get to these longer tracks, it's just hard to make it. With a couple cautions causing a timeout, it can be difficult to make it to the end of the race, no matter how fast these guys are going.
It's going to be tough to find a hard charger for today because so many didn't qualify. Many of them wound up at the top. Holly being one of them we talked about. Paul Williams, 25th without a qualifying time. He's in 3rd place. 30th for Mark Kalin on the grid without a qualifying time. He's in 6th place. 19th to 8th. Actually, I think that's our first driver to get a time outside of something like the top 15. He had a qualifying time, Charles Sumner. He finishes 8th place from 19th on the grid. Now,
yeah, I mean, I would have put Sync up there as the hard charger just because of his incident on pit road, but now he's blowing his engine, so he's out of the contention for it.
Now, we did get the white flag there because the clock actually went out. We'll see if the checkered flag comes out here or if they're going to send him around one more time. I'm not seeing the checkers coming up, so I think we might go one more. Yes, it looks like we're going to go one more time around here.
And that's horrible news for William Hartman. He just went down to 20th place behind Mike Richter, so
now they're doubling up. Are we going back green here?
We'll probably have a short sprint to the line. It's 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 not out of the realm of possibility that John LaBaff could win this, but let's just say it's highly unlikely. But this is going to jumble up the finishing order for sure.
Well, this is something we didn't take into account.
It's also possible, Joe, that the pace car might just stay out even with them doubled up like this.
Oh, it sure would be nice if we had some way of iRacing feeding something to from the stewards, the automated stewards, to tell us what in the world is going
Joe,
on here.
I'm getting a green-white checker message.
Did they change the rules then? Interesting. Well, if that's the case, yes, I see that myself. Though it looks like a single attempt at a green-white checkers.
But they just took the white.
All right, well, audience, you're going to find out what happens along with us as we try to flip through the rule book furiously to figure out what in the world is going on. Holly probably really wants it to finish here. LaBaff would sure love another extra few laps. Williams as well. Williams looking for his redemption. Sure would like to jump from this third spot up to the front, being down on that low line. We're coming out of turn 4 right now. And if this pace car ducks off, we'll try and follow it. There he goes. Mustang pace car is heading in.
Keep an eye on the flag band. We'll see what this actually ends up being, if this is a green-white checker or just a sprint to the line.
Holly has control. They're working their way through the tri-oval now. Ooh, there's some bumping going on the top row there. Green flag is out. We're going to get that green-white checker, I think.
Yep, no white flag. This is a full green-white checker.
Wow, what a twist in the story. And that high line did not go. John LaBaff, unfortunately, he immediately comes down to the low line behind Colin Carroll. He was being pushed by Austin Hunter, hoping to get him up there. They could still get a caution on this lap. They have got to keep it clean until the white flag, or else this will end under yellows. LaBaff almost gets run into by Carroll. He jumped up high, but now he's being left out to dry.
Paul Williams has to do something. He has to do something in this turn. He has to back off, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's trying to drop Bradley Holly, but John LaBaff's going to go around the outside. This is spoiling his opportunity. Here comes Bradley Holly with no head of steam. He's got no speed.
And now that means the number 7 is plugged in at the bottom. He's got nowhere to go. He's got to find an opening at some point up on the high side. LaBaff getting another shove. And that's the white flag out, so we are finishing under green. Oh, no, that was the finish. That was the end. The winner is Bradley Holly. Everybody behind slows. Bradley Holly, your victor. Second going to Paul Williams.
Yeah, we didn't get a flag for that either, Joe. That didn't look like the finish.
Well, our timing and scoring counted it as, and everybody slowed down. So I think that is the end of things. And that actually, yeah, Williams beat LaBaff barely at the line. Apologies to the audience. This unfortunately was just a little bit out of our scope on exactly how it would play out with the timer being over and it being a green-white checkers, which they usually don't do here in the trucks. And there you see the win for the 184, taking another victory. That is going to be his second of the season, the first driver to repeat here. But we're going to take a quick break after that. We'll come back with the unofficial results, and we are sure about how those finished out this time. We'll also have driver interviews, and if you watch on screen in between then and now, you'll see all the upcoming races here on the GSRC. back to Talladega Superspeedway. We just watched round 4 with something of a chaotic end to the race. We didn't quite make the number of laps, though they were just about there, and Bradley Hawley was the one that came away with the victory, his second of this season. Paul Williams just behind him, but also right beside Jean Lebaff at the line, who rounds out our podium. Austin Hunter with a P4 and Charles Sumner with a 5th place for him. Colin Carroll winds up in 6th, and Mark Kalin, and all this chaos, gets a 7th place. Zach Zwar takes 8th. P9 goes to Robert Besaw, and Robert Malikian rounds out your top 10.
Jose Tellez comes in 11th place with Adam Young in 12th. Nick Schmeg comes home in 13th place today after an unfortunate day. Colton Lane as well. These are the guys with damage. Brett Adams with 15th place. 16th is Nick Hunter with Baron Hill in 17th place. Mike Richter is 3 laps down, finishes ahead of Thomas Sink and Adam Shane in 20th.
These are your DNFs after that. Hartman in 21st, Bajin 22nd, Walter, Peachot, Ketchum, Warren, Franklin, bad days for them. Chatley as well, Rob Haynes, Jalen Battle, one of the early ones out despite being on the pole, and William Lee, last on the field, 39 laps down in 31st. So we've got our winner ready to talk to us. Bradley Hawley returns to tell us about his second victory, and I'm curious to know how much Hawley was aware of exactly what was going on at the end. Brad, we were trying to suss out exactly how this was going to work with the clock and the green-white checkers. Were you staying abreast of things inside the cockpit?
Yeah, given with the timer and everything, we've seen this before, so I was kind of expecting to get at least one lap drag race, basically to the checker flag.
It had to be a little bit nerve-wracking, but more than that, at the early part of the race, you found yourself in the second pack way out of contention. If it wasn't for that caution, do you think you could have been where you were come the end?
Honestly, I don't know. I know there were times we were catching the first pack, and there were times we weren't. And with our strategy this week, we were kind of hoping it would help. We would be able to catch them, and during the green flag stops, a lot of people were strung out, and there were a lot smaller packs than us.
Well, regardless, you're the first this season to repeat at the top of the podium, and it seems your rival has had another bad day. So regardless of the stress out there that comes with Talladega, you got to be satisfied with how it all wound up.
I mean, yes, I am, but at the same time, I really don't like seeing William and anybody else that's battling for me in the points get taken out in a race like this. I mean, it's definitely more fun to battle on track and on the spreadsheet, basically, for a championship.
He's going to have some hard work to do to catch back up to you, and it gives you a comfy little gap for sure. Congratulations on victory. We'll talk to you in a week's time.
Thank you very much.
Bradley Hawley, our winner today. Up next, Adam has Paul Williams with us, who did sort of redeem himself for last week.
Yeah, Paul, after that contact last week that brought you to 5th, then coming into tonight, and you got so close, but you just got stuck on that bottom side. What was it like on that final lap?
Yeah, it was really unfortunate. It was kind of playing out exactly how I was hoping it would. I gave Brad a nice shove down the backstretch and then kind of eased up entering 3. Thought that would give me an opportunity for the run, and the 911 just kind of went to my outside quarter. And once that happened, I realized I was going to be stuck. I didn't have any help. My teammate got caught up in that incident, so I didn't really have a drafting partner. And I was just coming to the line thinking about last week and how going for it cost me, a few spots there. So I just said, you know what, let's just finish it off. So all in all, happy with the way it ended up, given the circumstance.
Yeah, definitely. That's 2 consistent finishes for you, and one at a very unusual and unforgiving track such as Talladega. Is this something that you were expecting, or is this something that is a surprise to you, or do you hope to carry it forward?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a crapshoot when you come to the super speedway. My strategy is typically, when I've got a teammate in the race, we just kind of play it safe. We hang out in the back. We try to leave enough space until it's really time to go. We made a strategy call to come to the pits alone, to try to be away from everything, and that worked out. We ended up getting the lead, and then the caution came out. So, things were going the way that we were expecting it. And then, as cautions fell, it shuffled us back and just kind of had to try to work our way back up to the front. So, look, I think whenever we have an opportunity to work together, we do really well. So, appreciate, all the help we get from Josue and all the guys that were around for that last lap. We kept it clean and look forward to next week.
Yeah, well, it was great talking to you, Paul, and good finish tonight.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, that was Paul Williams, second place finisher in the race tonight, and it looks like Joe has found John LeBeff on the pit lane and is talking to him now.
Podium finish for John, but the restart certainly looked a little bit off for John. It seemed like even though you had the clear in front, like we see here on our shot, you had Austin Hunter, the kid in the lunch line, shoving you to move forward. Did that distract you? Is that what caused you to drop back?
Nah, I started to spin the tires a little bit, so I had to pedal it, and I didn't want to cause a huge pile up. So I just tried to get it back under control. I knew that Austin would work with me and try to help me get back up to the front.
Obviously, Paul Williams talked a little bit about in his interview how he was boxed in by you moving up to the high side. Do you regret the move in the end since it wound up giving you third? Do you think there's anything you would have done differently in hindsight?
Nah, I was pretty well set on that top side. I was hoping to pinch him down a little bit in 3 and 4 to get a little bit better run out of 4 with Austin pushing me, so I could at least get by him, maybe try to get by Bradley, but didn't work out the way I wanted.
Well, the good news is we're not going to Superspeedway next week, and it's back to the Midwest with Kansas. How do you fare at that track? Do you think you could get yourself another podium?
Kansas is one of my better tracks. Once I get into the rhythm, I don't know if I've got podium, but I'm thinking I could be in the top 5.
Well, we'll watch out for you, see if you can get that 911 up to the front once more. Congratulations on the top 3 today.
Thanks, guys. Just wanted to give a shout out to my sponsors, Waterback and Road Trip Transport. Big shout out to them guys.
That was our third place finisher today, and we've got to wrap things up, unfortunately. So we want to give a big thank you, of course, to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts. You can see them listed here on your screen. An additional thanks to the birthday girl, June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to the team today, Sean, Adam, and Doug. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Check us out on social media. Our Twitter is at GSR Channel. Facebook is Global Sim Racing Channel. And Instagram is GSRC_Cram. If you head on over to our YouTube page, you got to hit that big red subscribe button so that you don't miss a moment here on the GSRC. If it is big and red, then you haven't subscribed yet. Easy way to tell. The next race, as we mentioned, heading back towards the Iowa region, but a little bit past that into Kansas. That'll be Wednesday, October 16th at 8:50 p.m. Eastern. We have other races on our screen that are coming up. Make sure and check those out and mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and see you on the track.